So welcome everyone to the second annual Global Goddess Fest, a week-long virtual festival uniting female leaders, entrepreneurs, and creatives worldwide. So today we have Shani Cooper here. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
And so Shani is a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine and is also a songstress. So I'm just super excited to have you here. And I would love for you to kind of just take over and share a little bit more about who you are.
Great. Well, me in a very brief snapshot, I've sung all my life. I stumbled upon this love of acupuncture and Chinese medicine after 8 years in the Navy, and I did hair for a while. But really, I went through some of my own health challenges and didn't love the answers I was given, didn't love a lot of the solutions I was given for my own pains and the interventions, and kept searching for a better way. And so now I've stumbled upon acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I've just fallen in love with the way it looks at the body and the way it doesn't disconnect the head from the body, and how there's so many of our experiences and things we go through that manifest themselves in our health and our bodies that we don't have good understanding of. And that's a lot of what I spend my time geeking out about. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Awesome. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm a musician myself. And so I always somehow, like every person that I have a conversation with, I feel like they end up being a musician, or in some way, a singer, or performer. Mm-hmm. So do you feel like that has influenced your relationship with your body?
Oh my goodness, yes. So I sing. I've also played the violin, and a big part of the reason why I did choose to leave the Navy is I wanted to really foster that again and really get back into that part of my life. And I've been very fortunate here in San Diego. I've fallen in with quite a cool crowd. I perform in a band called XIV, like the Roman numerals, and we're working on our 4th album right now.
Yeah.
But also that has connected me to some amazing people here in San Diego, as well as out of San Diego. I feel like it really does start to open up, your networks of, oh, well, we have a connection here, and we're going to go play in this town. And hey, we had an opportunity to play at the Laughlin International Film Festival a couple of years back, of all places. So, it's one of those things that I've always had kind of, running in the background, like that thing that kind of always pushes me. So it's fun because I don't have a lot of downtime. People talk about, oh, I did this weekend. I'm like, really? What's free time? I don't know what that is. My free time is always, there's a practice, or we're working on new lyrics, or, there's always, I'm going to pick up my violin again in the coming year. So I'm super excited for 2019 and to fall back in love with that. So I'm really geeked about that. I just signed up for my first lesson.
Yes, it's so great. And I guess like a theme that I'm hearing inside of you is just like, you just like go for it. It's like very physical energy that I'm like feeling from you, even in the online space. It's always fun to be able to connect with other women that are really just like, okay, let's do this. Let's go all out. I want to bring my art. I want to bring maybe a little parts of the left brain that are, solving the mysteries of the body all together. So that's super empowering. And I'm sure it feels good for you to also be living in this very balanced state.
Oh, absolutely. I really feel like it's all about harmony, right? Like the way we interact with one another, with ourselves, with society at large, finding that thing that makes your heart sing, in your professional as well as private life is, to bring that into the home space and share that with your loved ones. That really is a theme of my life. And I find that, this concept of, I don't necessarily like to say life is short, but it's definitely too short to wonder what if, when you can know, even if it doesn't work out, to say, well, I had the audacity and the strength to try says way more than not. So Yeah, going for it is definitely a a good way to describe the theme of my
I
life.
love it. Do you feel like you've always been like that, or was there ever like a point in your life where you felt like you weren't actually going for it?
You know, I want to say there have been slower times. I want to say there have definitely been times where I didn't really look at life that way necessarily, whether I didn't go for it or not. Um, but I do find that at the more opportunities I do take and the more chances I do take, that I don't get as stuck as I used to, in a holding pattern. Those holding patterns where, things may not be bad, but they can be better.
Yeah.
I like to call those holding patterns,
Yeah.
and really look at opportunities to say now, maybe more than I used to, how am I holding myself back, and what can I do
Mm.
to not hold myself back? Because there are these opportunities, and more as I least I've seen of us to come, especially of women to come together and do more good in the world and be the change that we know needs to be put out there. And it doesn't happen with us sitting down in a corner saying, well, shoot, I wish somebody would take the lead on this. um, Things are happening, and the more we kind of have the audacity to speak up, we find each other, and then that voice gets echoed, and then it gets bigger, and then we realize, oh, I'm not alone. A lot of people feel the way I do. And
Mm.
so, so I find those opportunities to not sit in that holding pattern and not choose comfort and to choose to be uncomfortable,
Mhm.
um, are are way more attractive to me now than they've ever been.
Hmm. And so to kind of like circle it back into the physical body,
Mm-hmm.
how does that sort of energy, whether we're talking about the times when we are in that more stuck and what were you calling it,
Holding pattern.
the holding pattern
Mm-hmm.
energy of your physical body
Mm-hmm.
versus the energy of like just trying things? How does that show up in the physical body, maybe from like the clients that you work with and stuff like that?
It shows up a lot. Just really briefly, I came to this medicine because of one of my holding patterns,
Mm.
and I had developed painful uterine fibroids that had gotten quite large and had really affected me every month. And I really started to learn to see that as a physical manifestation of where I was holding myself back in my life. And then I see that show up on my table as well. You know, people who maybe they aren't taking the chance, or maybe that there are certain things about their life that they don't love until they internalize it and it becomes some sort of dysfunction. Um, and the more I can get people to speak to it, the more we can kind of start looking at it from different angles. And it doesn't have to be like a painful, you know re-traumatization of what's going on. Just an awareness, moves, just knowing that we need to move can encourage us to move. So taking that opportunity and taking that time, I find we get stuck less, and then we're more aware of it when our body starts to give us warning signals of, this doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
I feel, especially as women in Western culture, we get told to ignore a lot of those inner voices that are saying, this doesn't feel right, this isn't good, because we're supposed to be nice and sweet and smile. And I do feel like you can be respectful of others in this situation and still very much honor yourself and that feeling of discomfort, and saying, this isn't where I want to be, and I'm going to honor that, and move and find a way to move, whether it's a walk around the block to get some clarity, or maybe it is across the country. I've done that more than once. um, to say, this is the space for me, and this is where I'm called to be, and that's okay, and it's worth the risk, it's worth the jump. So on the table, a lot of digestive stuff and a lot of pain is usually where I see it come up. And especially in women, our cycles are beautiful, beautiful alarm system of when things aren't right.
Mm-hmm.
And can cue you into changes that need to be made, whether it be, putting better things in our body, whether it be visually or food wise, what we allow ourselves to hear and process. This can all affect, how we move through life.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to give a lot of my patients a lot of everyday things that will move things. Breathing exercises are very effective in starting that process. It doesn't always have to be, okay, take this cauldron and boil all these herbs. That's fun too, but not always convenient, with our busy lives. So even taking 5-10 minutes out to, how am I breathing? Am I breathing? I saw you just take a nice deep breath. It's like, am I breathing? Did I stop breathing? Why wasn't I breathing? Breathing is important. And just that little bit of awareness can start to shift things in a major, beautiful way for most. And I find that for most of my patients, that's a beautiful gateway into, a newness and a unstuckness. We get so stuck up, literally, instead of remembering to breathe, and that, life is going to throw at you what it's going to throw at you. You can't control that. You can control with which you flow through those obstacles. And that can be such a beautiful ripple in the pond to the world around you. So that's how I try to practice medicine and practice music and practice relationships with those that I around me, and who I choose to relate to and with, even, so that's really, I love festivals like this because we get to really tap into things like that. And what is your inner goddess telling you? How can you be a badass today, if I can say it? Like in what way does that feel good for me today? And that's a beautiful way to be unstuck and to live unstuck. Because it happens to the best of us, but it's what you do when you are aware of it and how long it takes you to become aware of it that I find that's when things really start to manifest in a not so pleasant way. So.
Totally. And I love when I talk to singers about breathing, and non-singers as well, because I always encourage everyone to sing. Because I had a teacher, so I didn't sing for most of my life, because at some point when I was young, I was told to oh, you should just be a dancer, you shouldn't sing. So I'm like, okay, I'll throw that dream away. And then in college, I had a teacher that was she would make us sing during ballet classes, and it would only come up when none of us were breathing while we were dancing. And so she would make us sing, so that way we'd have to breathe in and out bigger, deeper breaths.
Yep.
Then there was something that clicked in me, and I was like, oh, our endorphins get created from us breathing and from us bringing oxygen into our bodies, into our bloodstream. And so when we're singing, we're actually able to ignite those endorphins and fill our lungs with oxygen. And then we get to put a little emotion or, funk or whatever you want into the voice as well. So I feel like one of the best breathing exercises you could ever do is just to put on your favorite song, whether it's Michael Jackson or whatever, and just get down and sing it out loud.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing too is there's so much research coming out now, even within the Western medical model, where they're talking about things like nitric oxide balance. And that is something that happens when you do mindful breathing. You balance your levels of nitric oxide, which are directly responsible, excess or deficiency of nitric oxide directly responsible for the start or ending of disease process within the body. So that's an amazing way to become empowered and actually take charge of your own life and your own health, and say, I'm affecting it, in that way. And I love the idea of, just just sing it out, you know, good day, bad day, whatever it is, just sing it out. It's a wonderful thing. I love that. I love that idea. Your teacher was
Yeah.
spot on in so many ways. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Right. You gotta love those teachers that we have that just like drop those truth bombs, and you're like, I'm gonna keep this one probably for the rest of my life.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Everyone that's viewing, I hope you got some amazing ideas and got you thinking a little bit more about how you can get into your body and listen to your body. And so Shani's offering a free health assessment, either in clinic if you're in Southern California area, or over video as well. So this is an amazing opportunity to get some tips from her and see how you can improve your own health. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, I just want to definitely encourage, if anyone has any questions and just wants to be able to talk to me about what's going on with you physically, I would love to take some time out and find out what's going on with you and offer you some tips and tricks and ways that you can just have better days, because that's where it starts, right? So and thank you for this opportunity so much to share with everyone. This is such an amazing festival.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, everyone, we'll see you on the next video. Enjoy the festival.